Welcome back to Grassroots Media. Welcome back to this week's edition of the Marathon QuickStops Eddie Spradlen Show, where we cover everything inside of Burley Stadium with the Greene Devils football team. As always, I'm joined here with head coach Eddie Spradlen. Coach, how's it going this afternoon?
It's going good, man. Nice having you.
Nice being out here again in beautiful Burley Stadium. Good news is you get to finish the season here at Burley Stadium for the foreseeable future. You've got Northview coming in this week, and then you've got that big-time matchup with Elizabethton next week. And then if you do win that game against Elizabethton, you'd be here for a few more weeks also in the playoffs. So hopefully get to sit down in Burley Stadium for a few more weeks and do a few more of these interviews, and hopefully get to be here on Friday night for some big-time playoff games. But before we get into that, you had the bye week this past week. Kind of a good week to have a bye week before you go into two very important matchups against Northview and Elizabethton, which will decide the Region 1 4A champions and the Region 1 4A standings going into the TSSAA playoffs. So we spoke a little bit last week about what you were preparing to do during the bye week. So take me through the bye week last week and kind of how it went.
You know, it was good. We were able to play Granger on that Thursday night, so we were able to give the kids, we were on fall break that week of Granger, and we were able to give them off Friday and Monday. We didn't have school Monday, so a nice little break. Then we practiced 3 days last week, really got after it, got back in the school routine. Been out of school for 2 weeks there, so we got back in that routine, and we were able to get 3 really good practices in last week. Kind of cut them down a little shorter, but we're short and intense practices, and we really got after it in the weight room for 4 days last week, and it ended on Friday. We had a hard day in the weight room. Then we really worked hard out here pushing the prowlers, get a good conditioning in, try to get some game type stuff with those prowlers. But it was a really good week. It was a week we're trying to get some guys healed up and get us back to playing our best football when we've got to be at our best right now.
And I know in the bye week you talked about how you kind of prepare a little bit for each team, but you kind of focus on yourselves a lot more too. So were you able to look at some stuff for Northview and Elizabethton and kind of prepare for the future a little bit?
Yeah, we got our game plan early on Northview because they had played that same Friday, and we're off just like we were this past week. So we got everything in. We're able to get a good game plan, look at Elizabeth and some stuff that they've done. Went and watched them play on Friday night. So them and Northview played that Friday after we played Granger. So I was able to go watch them, get some eyes on both of them. So that was good. But really, like I said, just working on making sure that we're at our best.
Did you go watching games this past Friday?
I did.
Okay.
And went and watched a little Northview. Volunteer in Elizabethton. So since Northview was off, so just more opportunities just to see people in person. Try to get eyes on them is always good.
See if they pass the eye test.
Yeah, for sure.
But going in forward now, you've got Northview. They had a week off. You had a week off, so you expect both teams to be fully healthy, fully prepared for this game here inside of Burley Stadium. Before we get into that too much, though, we need to go ahead and get a break in first and get a word from our sponsors. So stay tuned, and we'll preview that game against the Cougars coming up right here on Grassroots Media.
At Corner Pond, the friendly and knowledgeable staff has the experience necessary to help you out regardless the need. Have an item of value you'd like to pawn or sell? Corner Pond can help. They pawn numerous items of value, including firearms, tools, ammunition, silver, coins, and much more. When you walk through their doors, you'll find well-stocked shelves full of electronics, gaming systems, fishing and hunting equipment, car audio and accessories. And don't forget about the room full of guitars and basses and amplifiers, or their outside lawn and garden equipment. Corner Pond is a case knife dealer and carries numerous used knives as well. Stop by and let the friendly staff at Corner Pond help you today at 432 East Bernard Avenue, Greenville, Tennessee.
Welcome back to Grassroots Media. Welcome back to this week's edition of the Marathon QuickStops Eddie Spradlen Show, where we cover everything inside of Burley Stadium with the Greene Devils football team. As always, I'm joined here with head coach Eddie Spradlen. So you got a big-time matchup on Friday night. You've got Northview coming in here, a team that's kind of looking to spoil things for you because they know you're undefeated within the region right now. I don't know if they mathematically have a chance to win the region anymore, but if you're in that situation where you have nothing to lose, your favorite thing to do is play spoiler. That's what they're looking to do when they come in here Friday night. What's it going to take to get the job done and come out with a win on Friday night?
You know, like you said, it's going to be a big-time challenge for our football team coming off, not played football a game in, about 2 weeks. So we got to be sharp from the get-go. You don't got a chance to, in a game like that, they've got a really good offense with a quarterback who's got big-time track speed. He's transferred there from Knox Catholic, I think 2 years ago, but really good speed. He ran the football against us good last year. He comes in for his senior season. Really strong arm, too. So it'll be a good challenge. They got a big offensive line. They like to run the football, running backs. They got two guys that run the ball really hard. So offensively, they're really good. They've been struggling a little on defense, so we've got to make sure and put points on the board early and often. So and we got to play. We got to get to playing our best on defense. Be a big-time matchup for sure. Like we talked about, we want to be region champs. You got to win this game to be region champs. Next week, is what everybody wants to talk about, but this is the one that matters right now. We got to be 1-0 at the end of this week.
Absolutely, and to be able to look at that big-time matchup next week against Elizabeth, and you can't look over Northview because you've got to win that one first to get there. And if I remember correctly, I believe last year's matchup against Northview, was that the first ever matchup between Northview and Greenville?
Yeah, I think it was.
Thought so too. So going into this matchup, it's two teams that really don't know each other real well, but you've got that one under your belt so far. So you can kind of look at some tendencies from last year, kind of look at some things that they did on each side of the hash marks. So when they line down on offense, what are some things that you expect them to do to kind of get through your defense?
Like I said, their quarterback's going to be their go-to guy. He runs the football really well. He scrambles good when they get pressure. They're beating a lot of people, throwing it over their heads because he scrambles around. People come up, and he's got a really strong arm. He's able to place the football where he wants to, where people start coming up out of coverage. So it's important for us to stay in coverage when he scrambles in the secondary. But like I said, they're going to run the football with him. Run a lot of jet sweeps. They run getting two-back stuff and a lot of lead stuff and ISO stuff. So it'll be a good challenge for us defensively.
Sounds like your secondary might have a big task this week, because usually when we sit down and I ask you what you expect from a team's offense, usually it's running the ball and you're going to load up the box, not per se, but you're going to kind of stop the run more than you would expect the secondary to have to do a lot of the work. So it sounds like this week the secondary is going to have a little more on their plate than they're used to.
Yeah, Northview wants to run the football first and foremost, I think, and but he does a really good job scrambling around. He gets a lot of people trying to get a lot of pressure on him, and he's able. I don't know if I've seen him get sacked one time. He's just able to get out of it, scramble around, and throw it up, and get out of tough situations and make plays. So, like I said, he's their best player. It runs through him. We got to make sure, he's not a guy that really wants to get hit running the football. He's going to get down. He's smart with it, run out of bounds, but a really good player with really big-time speed.
When you look at film and you see how they line up defensively, what are some of the things that you think you can do to kind of exploit their defense a little bit?
We've got to. It starts up front with us always. We got to be able to run the football. We got to get Carson involved running the game. Caden did a good job getting back involved with it last week. So, everything's on deck now for us, all cards on hand. So we're going to play our best we can play, and we got to get those guys involved in the running game, but we're explosive out on the edge. We got to get the ball on those playmakers' hands as well.
Are they a 3-down or a 4-down front?
They'll do a little bit of both,
okay,
but they're going to be mostly based out of a 3 front. They run a 3-3 stack, so trying to get some pressure in there and get some extra guys in coverage. Depending on if you got a tight end in the game, they might play a little 4 front, but they're going to be based out of 3-3.
All right, and as always, too, we got the big-time matchup on Friday night with Northview. You've got 3 keys to the game that you've got to carry out in order to get that win on Friday night. What are they this week?
First and foremost, we got to establish the line of scrimmage, really on both sides, but on offense, we got to be able to run the football. If we can run the football, it opens up everything else. The other key, kind of what we talked about, we got to contain the quarterback.
Okay.
He's going to get some big plays. Got to stay in coverage. All right, defensive ends got to really do a good job playing their responsibilities. They do a lot of motions. We got to stay home. If I'm a backside guy, because he's going to keep it out the backside. So we got to make sure and play those responsibilities. And the last key for us to win on Friday will be we got to make sure and continue to get better at special teams. We've continued to get better, but for us to make a run in the playoffs, we got to be as good as we can on special teams.
One last thing before we go off the air, too. I forgot to mention this earlier in the first half, but I saw that you've got a player traveling to a big-time Power 4 school to make a visit this upcoming weekend. So talk about that a little bit, how exciting that is.
Yeah, I think Drew Armbruster's going to go visit Michigan this weekend. Just got an opportunity to go up there, so he's going to take advantage of it and go up there and make the most of the visit and really enjoy the experience.
That'll be an awesome game to go to also with Michigan and Michigan State. It's a big-time rivalry,
yeah, for sure,
that everybody knows about to see who the best in Michigan is. But that's all I've got for you this week. We've got Northview coming in on Friday night here in Burley Stadium. I always say it whenever we got a game here in Burley Stadium, show up early. If you want to get a seat, show up early, or else you'll be standing the whole entire game. But, Coach, that's all I've got this week for you.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank
Go
you once
Devils.
again. Absolutely. Thank you all for watching this week's edition of the Marathon QuickStops Coach Spradlen Show. Look forward to seeing you next time here on Grassroots Media.